Okay, good evening, everybody. So I always like to start with a little bit of silent meditation and then generating our motivation. And then we'll talk a little bit about purification in terms of the four opponent powers, and then have some Q and maybe A at the end. Not sure about the A. Okay, so sit up straight. Have your hands in your lap, the right on the left, the thumbs touching. Become aware of your breath. And just watch the gentle flow of your breath for a minute or two to let the mind calm down. If you get distracted to another object or thought, notice that you're distracted, but come back home to the breath. Okay, so let's do this. So let's cultivate our motivation and listen and share together this evening so that we can understand how our mind works and identify the actions that we've done that obscure our mind, the negative emotions that disturb the mind, and then engage in some purification practice to remedy these. And let's do this for the long-term purpose of becoming a fully awakened Buddha, so that we can be of the greatest benefit to each and every sentient being. So on a previous daily Dharma gathering, I went through the 4 principles of karma, and a lot of the Q&A at the end, people wanted to know, how do we purify? So when we've made mistakes, physically, verbally, or mentally, how do we remedy those? And so this is kind of a follow-up on that. Because we've all made mistakes, because we're all afflicted sentient beings. Okay, so the Buddha taught a practice called the four opponent powers that helps us to purify the imprints or seeds of these negative or destructive actions that we've done. And by purifying, then we impede their ability to ripen, and in that, and since so much of our unhappiness and so many of our problems are the result of these destructive actions, by purifying, we're stopping those results from maturing, or even if those results come, they're shorter, they're not as intense, like that. And also, I think purification is just psychologically helpful. I have a theory that a lot of our psychological malaise comes from convoluted ethical conduct. And so, when we aren't acting in a constructive way, then it influences us psychologically. We don't feel good about ourselves. Okay, so I think purification practice helps us in terms of self-forgiveness, and it helps us own up to what we've done and then purify it instead of carrying around a lot of guilt, or instead of going through our whole life blaming other people for what's happened to us. Okay, so the kind of actions we may have done that we have regret for, they range in physical ones, killing living beings, stealing their things, sleeping around and disturbing relationships, verbal actions of lying, creating disharmony by talking behind people's back, harsh words and ridiculing people, idle talk. Mental ones, sitting and thinking how greedy thoughts, how I can get something that belongs to somebody else, or malicious thoughts, how I can get my revenge on somebody who harmed me, or thoughts that are embedded in wrong views, that negate things that actually exist, or that say things exist that don't exist. And here we're talking about important philosophical things. We're not talking about minor stuff, okay? So, we've all done these different mistaken actions and other ones as well. And so to purify the mind from them, then there's the 4 opponent powers. The first one is regret, not guilt. Okay, because, with regret, we just say, what I did was, created a mess, and it was done with a bad motivation. So we just own our responsibility. Guilt is different, because guilt puts this whole thing of what a terrible person I am on top of the mistake. Okay, and so guilt just spins around, ourself, basically. Look what a horrible person I am. And that kind of attitude certainly isn't realistic, and it's not conducive for spiritual progress either. Okay, so generating regret, but without feeling guilty and shame and all this kind of stuff. Okay, but definitely owning it. Okay, then the second one I like to call restoring the relationship. What it means is that when we have done destructive actions, we've either harmed the 3 jewels and the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha and damaged our relationship with them, or we've harmed other living beings, damaging our relationship with them. So the way to correct, these damaged relationships is to take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and to generate love and compassion and an altruistic intention for all living beings. And so that completely, whereby we had a negative intention that made us harm somebody, now we are purifying that intention and generating a good one. Then the third of the 4 opponent powers is a determination not to do the action again. So, this is important because if we don't make a determination not to do it again, then, we're creatures of habit. We just go into it again. So if we can't make a full determination to never do the action again, then at least to think, for the next 2 days I won't do it. And then after 2 days, extend it for another 2 days, something like that. And then the fourth one is to do some kind of remedial action. So this could be offering service to a charity or volunteering in some special capacity, that is of benefit to others. It also includes bowing or making offerings to the triple gem, or meditating on love, compassion, and bodhicitta, reciting the names of the Buddha. There are many different kind of purification practices that we do. Okay, so I thought I would lead you very briefly through this to give you a little taste of it. Okay? So, come back home to your breath. And then first, think of some actions that you regret having done. Things you may have done physically, verbally, or even certain thoughts. And have a feeling of regret, but not guilt. And think of specific things that you regret. And then remedy the relationship by generating a constructive intention towards whomever you harmed. So taking refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and generating love, compassion, and altruism towards all living beings. So that's the second step. Do that. Then develop an intention not to do those actions again. And here you might think a little bit about if a similar situation occurred, how you would work with your mind and how you would act so as to not repeat that behavior that you regret. And then for the remedial action, we'll chant Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of great compassion. And if you know what Chenrezig or Kuan Yin looks like, you can visualize Chenrezig, Kuan Yin in the space in front of you, and light coming from them into you as you chant. And think that the light really purifies all the negativities. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. So feel the blissful light from Chenrezig or Kuan Yin flow into your body and mind, and really feel like all those destructive actions, all the things that you regret, have been purified. And feel at peace because of this. So we have a few minutes for Q&A.
Thank you so much. I think there's a little bit of feedback.
Any of you have questions?
I was wondering about inadvertent harm.
About what?
If you harm someone, if it's inadvertent.
Ah, okay. Okay, so one question is if you've harmed somebody, but it's inadvertent, there was no intention, yeah, then it's not a full karmic action, you know, because it's the intention that really makes something karma, and it's the quality of the motivation that determines whether it's wholesome or unwholesome. So stepping on an ant accidentally, or, you know, all sorts of other things we do with no intention, yeah, don't count like that.
Thank you. Great question and great answer. Everyone, I'm here checking the website. If you have a question or comment about these beautiful words that were just shared, feel free. And I'm also checking the Facebook page if you have a problem with the website somehow. So you can also post on Facebook if you prefer. Thank you. We still have a few minutes.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Did you say something about maybe?
Okay, so questions come, do we need to do this kind of practice repeatedly? Yes, if we look on a daily basis, you know, most of us our minds get out of control and we say and do and think things that we don't feel so good about. And so then it's good to do this kind of practice actually daily. And some people not only do it daily, but they may actually do a retreat for 1 month or 3 months or whatever, just focusing on a purification practice to clean out so much of the garbage that we have stacked up over the years. Yeah, because sometimes, you know, if we don't do purification, then we wind up holding on to grudges, we feel shame, we feel guilt, we get ourselves all tangled up, yeah? And so doing this kind of practice repeatedly is really very, very good. And when you do it, you can feel the difference in your life.
Thank you. We have a comment on the website here.
Mm-hmm.
Sandy is saying, opening my heart to those who have done really reprehensible acts feels very unnatural. There is still a need in my heart to punish. What now?
Okay, so you're feeling a need to punish. You're holding on to some kind of grudge and you're angry. Yeah? So my question is, does that mental state feel good? Are you happy holding on to the thought that these people need to be punished? You know, look at it just from the sense of your own happiness. Does that thought create happiness in your own mind? I don't know about you, but for me, wanting to inflict harm on somebody does not create a good feeling in my own mind. Yeah? And then also, when I look at it in terms of practicality, you know, does punishing other people work? You know, if punishing somebody with anger, making them miserable, does that actually work as a strategy to get them to change their behavior? you know, how you could look and say, how successful is our prison system? Not very, yeah. So I'm not saying that people should not experience the results of their actions. I think we need to hold people responsible. However, yeah, to do that with a sense of care for them, not a sense of vengeance. Yeah, it takes a lot of work in our Dharma practice, especially meditation on compassion, meditating on also seeing our own mistakes, because when we see our own mistakes and we want other people to forgive us for our mistakes, then isn't it similar that we should have some sense of forgiveness for them? Okay, forgiveness doesn't mean what they did is okay. It just means I'm going to stop hating them for it. Okay, but I'm saying this is only the tip of the iceberg. This answer is not going to clarify the whole issue. It needs much more.
Thank you. And I suppose repeating the purification process or steps would help dilute something you can work on the same problem for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. So especially if, for example, our problem is that we're holding a grudge and we're holding on to anger and malicious thoughts, then to really target those as the things that we regret, that we want to purify, and then consistently, repeatedly doing this kind of practice to purify them.
Thank you so much. That's about all the time we have. There are no other comments at this time. It's always truly a pleasure to hear you speak, so thank you for being with us tonight, and I look forward to hearing you speak again. Thanks, everyone. It's very nice for you guys to all be together as well. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you.